YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Anthony Barber coming back at you with a haircut tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be doing a comb over with a hard part and a neck taper. So before every cut, I like to begin by brushing or combing out my client's hair. Shout out to Steel Tool Comb for this dope comb. And I'm just trying to get everything to lay in its natural direction. So now that I got the hair laying down how I want it, I'm gonna come in with my WAHL #1 color guard with the lever open. And I'm not necessarily setting a guideline because this is gonna be the desired length for my client. This is a really basic, simple cut, but I assure you, as basic as it is, it's a high demand cut. He likes a 1 all the way up into the length of the top of the hair. So I like to come in with my lever open, set that initial guide, if you will, around the perimeter of his head to where I want to take the 1 all the way up to, and then I'll close my lever and clean up everything right below that. And the reason why I do that is I just feel like the clipper over comb goes into the 1 fully open opposed to the 1 closed. It's a little more harder. So by me coming in, by me coming in and setting that in with the 1 with the lever open, it's gonna make my job easier when I'm trying to blend that 1 directly into the top. Real quick, I also wanted to mention that because this cut was so basic, I was able to edit everything in real time and not have to speed anything up. And when you run into a situation like this and you finish a client out early, don't rush them out of your chair. Give them that time they deserve and that they paid for, and take that time to fully detail everything that you just did. And if everything's clean, go above and beyond. Clean up his nose hairs, his ear hairs. You know, value your customer and their time. Alright, so now I'm going to do a little light back taper on him, a little neck taper. And it's not going to be too dramatic, but it's going to give it an overall clean appearance. And the back of his neck area tends to grow out pretty quickly, and I just feel like in order for this cut to continue to look good until the next time he comes to see me, a light taper really complements it because it removes that bulky, blunt, straight across look that a lot of Hispanics actually like. And I'm Mexican, so I could say that, you know what I mean? But I just feel like a light taper overall gives a way better presentation to the cut, as basic and simple as it is. Alright, so what you just saw me do was I set my first initial guideline, which was my bald guideline, with my ANDIS T outliner. Once that guide was set, then you saw me come through with my foil shaver and completely bald out that guide. When I got towards the top of the guide that was initially set, I did use that flick out motion because I want to demonstrate a smooth transition from completely bald to stubble. Even though this is a really light taper, just doing that alone is going to help it pop that much more. So now I'm coming in with my Babyliss Gold FX with the lever closed, and I'm just beginning to blend up into that 1 close. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to come in with my lever closed, and then little by little as I go up, I'm going to open my lever. And the lever on this actually has notches, so I'm basically going to go from 1, 3 to 5. So that's basically closed, mid to open. And this open no guard is actually going to blend right into that #1 close. But if for some reason you're doing this and there happens to be a little weight between the two, what you're going to want to do is throw on your half guard with the lever open, use the fade down process, and completely blend it out. So now that I got the back neck taper cleaned up, I'm now gonna clean up his neckline up. And right here, I'm just trying to keep everything very sharp but natural, consistent with the natural look, not the sharpness. I'm being consistent with the natural look that just happens to come out sharp. So what I mean by that is I'm never trying to push anybody's lineup, whether it be on the neck, whether it be on the side. I'm always trying to keep it natural but sharp at the same time. So right here, I'm gonna do some clipper over comb. I'm demonstrating with my comb right now what I basically want to remove. So I'm gonna come in with the WAHL #1 color guard on my clipper with the lever closed. And the reason why I'm choosing to do that is, if you remember, I initially set that guide around his perimeter with the 1 with the lever open. So by me using the 1 with the lever closed and the comb actually acts as a guard as well. So you could count that comb as basically a #1 guard. So my #1 closed and the comb combined basically make a #2 guard. So I'm just using my comb to connect that 1 open into that length on top. And so I'm coming in with my comb, just like I demonstrated in the beginning. And I'm coming in, I'm swooping up the hair, and I'm angling directly up because I want to retain somewhat of a boxy look. I don't want this to round off. I want it to give it that square look appearance. And so I'm gonna come in just like you see me doing now, and I'm gonna feed the hair through my comb, and I'm gonna continue to keep the same posture on my comb, which is gonna be directly up because I want to keep everything consistent. And so right here, when I get towards the top where there's more weight of the hair, I am gonna angle it slightly to a 45-degree angle because it softens that hair and allows it to lay nicely. So once I'm done with my clipper over comb, I'm gonna come in with my WAHL 1.5 premium guard with the lever open. And anytime you do clipper over comb, you could always follow up the detail or the cleanup with the 1.5 with the lever open and use that fade down process to remove any darkness or bulk that was left behind. And so that's what I'm doing now. Alright, so right here you're gonna see that I'm wetting the hair and I'm basically prepping it to do my shear work. I like to cut hair while it's wet unless I'm cutting curls, and then I like to cut them dry. And this is just my preference. I just feel like I have a little more control when the hair is wet. So now that I got the hair wet, I'm gonna comb it out and I'm gonna begin to do my shear work. And this is just gonna be a basic trim. And I'm gonna cut his hair in 3 sections right now: the left section, the center section, and the right section. So starting on my left section, I'm gonna pull up the front of his hair, so the bang or the fringe area, and I'm gonna pull the hair up tightly and I'm gonna make my first initial cut. He wants roughly about 1/2 inch, so that's what I'm gonna give him all around. And so once I make my first initial cut, I'm then gonna re-pull up a new section of hair right behind the hair that I just cut, but I'm also gonna bring over a little bit of that hair that I did just cut so I could use it as a guide and a reference point. Once I make my cut again, I'm gonna go right behind that, re-pull up a new section, and I'm also gonna include a little bit of the section that I just cut again so I could use it as a guide and a reference point. So once I make my way from the front side all the way to the back side of the left side, I'll then jump to the center section of his head. Once I'm on the center section, I'm gonna re-pull up that front bang or fringe area, and I'm gonna remember to include a little bit of that front section that I cut on that left side again so I could use it as a guide and a reference point. Once I make that initial cut, I'll re-pull up a new section right behind where I just made my cut, but also remembering to bring over a little bit of the hair that I did just cut again so I could use it as a guide and a reference point. Alright, so now I'm going to begin on the third section, which is going to be the right side. And this side is going to be a little bit different. So the way you see me using my hand placement right now is I'm basically using my hands like I would a comb if I were doing clipper over comb. So right here, I'm showing you, I'm basically trying to connect the bottom of that blend into the length on top the best that I can. And I'm using my hand as a guide almost to retain that box shape like I would with clipper over comb. And there might be some slight weight left behind, and if there is, you could come through with some thinning shears, or you could come in with some shear over comb, some clipper over comb. Whatever your preference is, that's how you would clean that up. Alright, so right here you're going to see that I apply some product on my client's hair and I begin to style them out. When you take a look at the final cut, you're going to notice that there's a hard part. I apologize I didn't film it, but trying to film this dude's tutorial is hard. The vibe is just so dope between the both of us that we're constantly just laughing, and honestly it's hard to get work done. But nevertheless, here's a look at the final cut. If you got anything useful out this, I ask that you smash that like button. If you're new to my channel, I suggest you stick around. It's only gonna get doper from here. The winner to my wall detailer is Romeo MWINX. For some reason you weighed heavy on my heart, so I hope you put good use to this. Again, I appreciate y'all. Be blessed and be a blessing. I'm out.